Vanakkam Dohadeva and everyone. Wonderful to be with you. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And we will share the screen. There it is. September 18th in Singapore. We are starting with a review of what we've covered in the last couple of Zoom satsangs on karma, Tomo Kanma Malam. But first, a question for you. What is Gurudeva's threefold definition of moksha? 3 requirements, 1, 2, 3 are listed to achieve moksha. See how well you did? Liberation, moksha, comes when Dharma has been well performed, all our karmas are resolved, and God has been fully realized. The simple idea of moksha is, well, you just realize God, realize Parashiva, and you achieve moksha. It's that simple. Just one realization, and moksha is guaranteed. So this doesn't say that at all. Dharma well performed, we need a certain amount of experience before we're willing to let go of life on earth. So we need to, over many lifetimes, fulfill different dharmas. Husband, wife, teacher, student, etc. We fulfill all the different dharmas, and that matures the soul. We have to mature the soul body through experience. Learning to have good self-control, good emotional control, be a problem solver, willpower, etc. Dharma well performed. All our karmas are resolved. Just because we realize Parashiva once, our karmas aren't resolved. We still have to keep going, still have to keep living to resolve the karmas, because they come at their own speed. We can speed it up, as we'll see today, but still, they space out. They don't all happen in one day. It would be a very busy day. So we have to fulfill the karmas, track them as quickly as we can, and resolve them one by one as they come, because we are excellent at resolving karmas rather than just recreating them. God has been fully realized means that in Gurudeva's philosophy, we have to realize Parashiva, the transcendent absolute, more than once. We have to realize it many times. Oh, God has been fully realized. Oh, beautiful definition. Not the only one, but I call it the 3-part definition because it has Dharma, karma, and realization all together. And we should have been looking at this slide while I said all of that. And how it relates to what we're doing is it shows that karma is really crucial, because even if you've realized Parashiva, you don't achieve moksha if you still have karma to resolve. That's how it ties into the current discussion of resolving karma. And our simple summary, how do we resolve karma? By meeting experiences the reactions to our past actions with wisdom rather than emotional reaction and retaliation. So we have to live through the reaction and respond to it with wisdom and compassion rather than retaliation and anger. And then the karma's gone. So we'll do a quick review here, just listing the 7 principles we covered, particularly if someone missed part of it, have a sense of what we covered. The first one is the basic one. If we don't do that, the rest don't count. You can't do them. First principle is forgo retaliation. That's the instinctive mind. Someone says nasty words to us, we want to say nasty words to them. I mean, how else would the universe be balanced if we didn't return nastiness with nastiness, right? But we're forgetting that we attracted that nastiness because we were nasty to someone in the past. So we miss the original cause. This is balancing it out. If we return nastiness with nastiness, then we've set in motion a new cycle. We're not balanced till the reaction comes back. Accept responsibility. The person who did this did not create it. We created it. We attracted it to ourselves. If it wasn't this person, somebody else would have to do the same thing because it's the reaction that has to come to us to learn the lesson. Forgiveness. Forgive the offender. Don't feel bad. You created it. Offender was just the messenger. UPS, FedEx, DHL. Delivered it. So the fourth principle relates both to handling a reaction from a past action as well as to setting in motion a new action. We need to consider the karmic consequences, not just the financial consequences, the PR consequences, but the karmic consequences. There's a beautiful verse in Yoga Sutras, which I don't remember closely enough to try and say it, but I can paraphrase it. The idea is, say that you create the idea for a toy. That toy gets manufactured. That toy goes to stores. It gets sold, but it has a flaw in it, and it hurts young children. So some of that karma comes back on you, even though you just created the idea. So everybody in the chain gets some of the karma. Very interesting. And once we really understand karma management, we have the first 4 principles under control, we can vow to live without creating negative karmas. Every action creates a karma, so we can't live without creating karmas. But we can create no negative ones. Once, because we harm someone, the harm comes back to us. We just create positive karmas. We were helpful to someone, so people are helpful to us. And we don't have to do it alone. We can seek guidance. Gurudeva particularly likes to focus on Lord Ganesha can help us fulfill our Dharma and karma in the smoothest way possible. Mitigate past karma. Oh, it's hard to eliminate past karma. That's one of our principles for today. Requires really an intense effort that most people aren't willing to make. Mitigate past karma is easy. Just living a dharmic life mitigates it. I should explain mitigation in case anyone doesn't remember. Make less. So the negativity of a situation is made less negative. Instead of someone stealing $1 million from us, they only steal 100,000. As we say in Hawaii, more better. We've made it less. Through following Dharma, being of service, worship, etc. It lessens the negativity in a karma versus if we weren't even following Dharma. Our life would be a real karmic mess. And we get to the new material. Can karma be accelerated? If so, how can this be done? Say we have 100 karmas to go through, and normally it would take us 5 lifetimes. Can we reduce it to 4? And how would we do that? So, 8th principle, accelerating karma. Why wait 20 more births to achieve spiritual maturity when you could achieve it in 2 births? That is the idea behind accelerating karma. When we begin meditating and performing regular daily sadhana, preferably at the same time each day, our individual karma is intensified. So that's the answer. A regular daily vigil accelerates our karma. In our first 4 or 5 years of striving on the path, we faced the karmic patterns that we would never have faced in this life had we not consciously intensified our spiritual practices. Those on the spiritual path resolve much more karma in a lifetime than others. They could be called professional karma managers. Of course, the duties of grahastha or family life don't allow much time for sadhana. Thus, the principle of karma acceleration is best fulfilled in the stage called sannyasa, both by those following the path of the monk and by everyone after the age of 72. Retirement can be more than playing golf. That's really for the U.S. It is an opportunity to intensify our spiritual practices and thus accelerate our karma. So the point is, lots of Hindus don't have that in mind, that retirement is a great spiritual opportunity to accelerate our karma. And that's why when someone asks me, what do I do? I'm turning age 72. I say, well, whatever spiritual practices you're doing, double them. If you're putting in 15 minutes a day, increase it to half an hour. If you're putting in half an hour, increase it to an hour, etc. That's that idea. We increase our practice and therefore we accelerate our karma when we're in retirement. Gives us a good goal a good motivation for doing more sadhana. Maybe we get to skip 1 or 2 or 3 lives. So we have Gurudeva on accelerating karma. By this conscious process of purification, of inner striving, of refining and maturing, the karmas come more swiftly, evolution speeds up, and things can and usually do get more intense. Don't worry though, that is natural and necessary. That intensity is the way the mind experiences the added cosmic energies that begin to flow through the nervous system, maturing the spiritual body. Comes from greater intensity. Tirukkural speaks of the benefits of doing good every single day. Be unremitting in the doing of good deeds. Do them with all your might and by every possible means. 9th principle of karma is resolve dream karma, a little bit subtle. Though some of our dreams are only the result of thoughts occurring in our own mind, other dreams are caused by being conscious in our astral body and interacting with others in their astral body. These astral plane actions create karma, as do our physical plane actions. This is the basis of the Hindu ideal that one would not steal or injure even in a dream. Why? Because it creates negative karma that will come back to you. These are real karmas that will eventually manifest on the physical plane if you don't follow the advice that's about to be made. However, this can be avoided if you happen to have further dream experiences where appropriate actions are taken to dissolve the karma. More commonly, we can treat dream or astral plane karmas the same as physical world experience, and our waking state perform penance for them, while remembering the high standards of virtue and good conduct that should always be maintained even during sleep. So then Gurudeva explains the difference here. These kinds of dreams, when a person is in his astral body and can feel what he touches, emote to his experiences, think and talk, are not what is known as the dream state. This is an astral experience, similar to the death experience, but the astral body is still connected to the physical body. And the Tirukkural has a verse on not harming at any time. So that includes even dreams. The highest principle is this: never knowingly harm anyone at any time in any way. No, even dreams. 10th principle of karma management is incinerate karma, meaning to totally get rid of a karma. How do we do that? That's the question to you. In the practice of yoga, the negative seed karmas can actually be burned up without ever having to be lived through. What we have to do is find the seed and dissolve it in intense inner light. Let's take the analogy of growing alfalfa sprouts. You place the seeds in a jar, keep them moist, and they sprout. If you first heated the seeds in a frying pan and then put them into the jar, they would no longer sprout. A meditation adept, having pinpointed the unmanifested karmic seed, can either dissolve it in intense inner light or inwardly live through the reaction of his past action. Happens in his mind. If his meditation is successful, he will be able to throw out the vibrating experiences or desires which are consuming the mind. In doing this, in traveling past the world of desire, he breaks the wheel of karma, which binds him to the specific reaction which must follow every action. That experience will never have to happen on the physical plane, for its vibrating power has already been absorbed in his nerve system. The same type of incineration can also happen during sleep. And then Gurudeva has a comment on this. It is the held-back force of sanchita karma that the yogi seeks to burn out with his kundalini flame, to disempower it within the karmic reservoir of Anandamaya Kosha, the soul body. And the Threefold even speaks of this. As the intense fire of the furnace refines gold to brilliance, so does the burning suffering of austerity purify the soul to resplendence. Conclusion. No matter how deep our understanding of karma may be, actually applying our understanding of karma to the events in our daily life can still be a challenge. Why is this? Our humanness gets in the way. Our ego is challenged and we react to preserve our self-image. Our emotions are stirred and we respond impulsively without intellectual reflection. Our attitudes are prejudicial against certain religious or ethnic groups, and we feel justified in striking out at them because they are not our people. How can such human weaknesses be overcome? It is by perfecting our character, which Gurudeva defined as the ability to act with care. This is done through mastering Hinduism's code of conduct, the 10 yamas, restraints, and 10 niyamas, observances. With a strong character in place, the mastery of karma becomes natural to us. And a quote from Gurudeva. Gurudeva mystically summarizes this process as follows. Bhakti brings grace, and the sustaining grace melts and blends the karmas in the heart. In the heart chakra, karmas are in a molten state. The throat chakra molds the karmas through sadhana, regular religious practices. The third eye chakra sees the past karmas, present and future, as a singular oneness, and the crown chakra absorbs, burns clean enough of the karmas to open the gate, the door of Brahman, revealing the straight path to merging with Shiva. Very nice. So it's basically saying you start with a rough object, that's the karma, and then the higher chakras refine it so that what you actually experience, or ideally incinerate, is a more refined object than how it started. Reminds me how they made the Avudayar and Swami Malai. They started with very gross metal objects, melted them down. So the final object is comprised of some pretty gross things when they started. But they managed to mold it all into a beautiful Avudayar, which we polished a few months ago. It looks very nice, all polished up there. Second topic. Some new questions submitted to satsang@hindu.org. We need some new questions. I think we only have one question left, not enough to make some satsang out of. At the end of the talk on the Guru, you said he will ask you to do exactly what you do not want. So can we practice this knowing that this which I don't feel like doing, but I know I should do, is also probably my Guru's command, and then stimulate willpower to do it, since it's a command of my Guru? So the answer starts quoting from a talk on obeying the Guru. This is a talk I created for BAPS Swaminarayan group. Gurudeva years ago gave them a great talk in the 1980s on obeying the Guru, and they still remember it, and every time they see us talk about it, and every time I give a talk before them, they want to hear about it. Some Hindus select a Guru who is no longer living. They place his picture on their wall and altar and study his writings. I call this a safe Guru because he will never ask you to do something you do not want to do. Whereas a living Guru will, in fact, quite often ask you to do exactly what you do not want to do. Being obedient and doing what the Satguru has requested may prove to be quite challenging. However, in accomplishing the task, you will have made progress on the spiritual path. For he sees better than you do the karmas of your life and how you can overcome them. Let's take as an example a disciple who is quite shy of public speaking. This shyness is based upon a few experiences in school in which he did very poorly in speaking in front of his class. These experiences convince him that others are better than he is. It would be natural for the Guru to ask him to do that very thing, for example, to speak in front of a large satsang group every week until he overcomes his shyness of speaking in public. These positive accomplishments improve his self-concept to the point where he realizes he is neither greater nor lesser than anyone else, because in truth he is the divine being within him. He is not the outer personality, the ego. Rather, he is the inner soul. This change would not have occurred if he did not have a living Satguru directing him to do exactly what he was least inclined to do. Oh, back to the question. The answer would be yes, in situations such as the public speaking one, but not yes in all circumstances. Wisdom needs to be used. You don't want to do something extremely dangerous, for example. Run 10 miles when you are currently only able to run 1 mile. You might have a heart attack. So we need to use wisdom, and also don't want to do something dangerous like walk on a cliff that you're not really skilled enough to handle. You might fall off and break bones. So use wisdom. The answer is yes, but with wisdom as the guideline. Since acceptance of our own self-created karma is a necessity for a person on the spiritual path, are there some spiritual tools that can be implemented to help in accepting our karmas as they come to us, instead of possibly many days or longer after reflection? So when something happens to us, how can we respond immediately or very quickly with the sense that it's a self-created karma. So a couple suggestions. Certainly, if you are centered when the karma comes to you, it is a lot easier to accept it as self-created than if you are in an emotional swirl. So that shows an importance of being centered. We don't give our best response when we're in an emotional swirl at work, with our children, with our spouse. So we want to minimize emotional swirls. Beyond that, the practice of acceptance over time will build a strong habit to do so. So it's like building any positive habit. If you do it a number of times, then it gets stronger. Then you do it even more times, it gets stronger still. So the actual doing of it on a regular basis causes you to do it more quickly. Third topic, integrity, 33rd character quality of our character building workbook. And as usual, we ask you for your definition. How would you define integrity? The workbook gives this definition. Integrity means steadfast adherence to a strict moral or ethical code under all circumstances. I cultivate integrity by doing the right thing, even if no one is watching. The opposite is corruptibility. So in other words, some people will do the right thing if they're being watched, but another code of conduct is in place when they know no one will ever know what they do. So that's not integrity. And a quote from Gurudeva, I have faith in human integrity, in that unfailing, still small voice of the soul, which each who listens for can hear. We are essentially pure souls, temporarily living in a physical body. When we are unjust and mean, hateful and holding resentments year after year, and no one but ourselves knows of our intrigue and corruption, we suffer. As the soul evolves, it eventually feels the great burden of faults and misdeeds and wishes to atone. Comparing the actions of one who has integrity to one who is corruptible. First situation, if you are supposed to be home by 10 p.m. but your parents are away, you, integrity. Come home on time because it is the rule and you value your parents' trust. Corruptibility, listen to your best friend's appeals and stay out until midnight. Second situation, when friends make plans to shoplift a few trinkets at the mall, you, integrity. Urge them to reconsider and decline to join their errant outing. Corruptibility, join your friends in the stealing, hoping no one will get caught. Third situation, offered money to share your answers to important tests. You, integrity, are not tempted by the offer and refuse to cheat. Corruptibility, accept the offer and engage in the dishonest scheme. Reflection, take a moment to identify a few ways in which you could improve in integrity. And the assignment during the next 2 weeks, meditate 2 times on specific instances during the past year when you have not acted with rectitude, seeking to pinpoint the seed thought that allowed you to compromise your values. Oh, thank you very much. Om.